title for myself. Initially, I was a psychiatrist, and then I realized that I was doing something, mostly with Dr. Omondi, on teenagers, and I came up with the term parent teenage convener. Basically, what it means is that you have a parent and a teenager, and then you sort of become a convener for the two. So you help the parents communicate their needs, and you help the teenagers communicate their needs so they can understand each other. So my presentation today is about Instagram, and I'm hoping it's going to be interesting. I'll start by asking, how many in this room have an IG account? IG is Instagram. Wonderful. How many don't have an IG account? Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Those who don't have an IG account, just keep your hand up. My presentation is going to be quite ambiguous. I'm going to discourage those who have the account, and I'm going to encourage those who don't have the account to have one. That's the ambiguity. And I'm going to try and give you reasons for that. So I'm going to tell you about the impact of photo editing on Instagram, on body image, eating behaviors, and school performance. So for those who don't have an account, let me try and give you some statistics. So about more than 2 billion people are on Instagram. That's about 17% of the world's population. Every day, there are more than 500, half a billion posts, and more than 1.9 billion people spending 30 minutes on IG. That's about 8 months of our lives. And I'll tell you why. There's a good and a bad to it. So there are claims that Instagram was deliberately designed to be addictive by using data-driven methods to keep you hooked and glued. And when you're hooked and glued, in this room, some of you are selling things on the internet, on Instagram, so you need some of you here to be glued to see the services you're selling to those potential people. So the reason why you should go on Instagram is you can make money out of it, and you can waste a lot of time from it. So this is Darwin's quote, and it's still related to Instagram. It's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the ones most resilient and responsive to change. We've seen companies fail because they did not respond to change. COVID taught us a lot of things. It taught us to adapt, to adjust, to move with technology. So those who did not adapt had to go home. My objectives today are going to be why Instagram. I've given you one reason. How it has impacted self-image, eating disorder, eating behaviors, and school performance. Note that I've not made it a disorder. It's general, because it's good and it's bad. FOMO. Anyone know the meaning of FOMO here? What is it? You can say it out loud. Dr. Jenkaya. What is FOMO? So how does it manifest now that you suffer from it? Why?
It's a condition.
So what's FOMO? Let's just say it in chorus. Excellent. So fear of missing out on Instagram. This is for teenagers, but I realize adults as well are equally affected. And then I have two recommendations for today. One is championing boredom, the power of doing nothing. And two is leveraging technology to nurture adolescent agency. So Dr. Mondi, I know you say no to cell phones, but I heard you today that you said it's good and bad. Yes, so thank you for saying that. So the war on Instagram particularly started when an 18-year-old went to a psychiatrist and complained that she has an eating disorder that she can directly link to Instagram. So the photos that people post on the Instagram affected how she perceived her body image, and that affected her eating behaviors. So a Wall Street Journal journalist did an article, as you can see. Facebook knows that Instagram is toxic for teens, company documents show. So apparently, Facebook did an internal data research, and they have these results, but they're not publicizing them. So Anastasia Volsova is now 18 years old, has told us, she's the first to come out, that Instagram is a place for social comparison. I mean, when you go on Instagram, you always see a photo of somebody pretty, beautiful, well-built, slim. And let me ask you, when you look at those photos, raise your hand. When you look at those photos, do you feel less pretty? Do you feel more pretty? Or do you feel the same way? Apparently, the results from different studies, teenagers and adults, were consistent. So Instagram is a very strong social comparison website. Some people have called it an addictive drug. It's an obsession. Like I said, they use data-driven tools to keep you hooked. Now, here is Instagram and how people use it. So look at your age group. You can see between the ages of 25 and 34, we have most users. Not to put you on the spot, but how many here are between the ages of 25 and 34? Oh, quite very few. But then Instagram users were very many. So we have all the users here. It's interesting. And then how people felt about the social platforms. So you can see Instagram is purple, lavender, and we had the most people saying that it's the most popular and also the most addictive. So the way they've designed it is to keep you longer on the app. 73% of teenagers reported that IG was the best way for you to reach them if you're selling something. How many here have got businesses involving teenagers? Whether you're selling a service or goods. Are you on Instagram? Excellent. So if you are selling and you want to reach out to teenagers, Instagram is the best way. That's the other reason why you should have it. The average age of joining social media is 12 years old, and I know Facebook has got plans to lower that age by producing another product that is suitable for younger generations. So more than 200 million businesses are on Instagram, with more than 200 million people visiting at least one business profile. The advertising industry makes a revenue of about 26 billion shillings, made 26 billion shillings in 2021. And, you know, can you smell what The Rock is cooking? That guy. He's the most followed Instagram person. He charges $1.015 million per post if you want to post on his page. And for those, I'm sure a lot of you know that, but if you become a celebrity and you have a lot of followers, you make money by people advertising on your page. So that's what Dwayne does. Marketers make $5 for every 1 shilling they invest on Instagram. And do you think we have more females or male Instagram users? Take a guess. It's actually contrary, according to studies. 51.6% are male, 48.4% are women. Anywhere there's money, you find men. Yes, there are other things. It's lifestyle, but anywhere there's money, men are there. So let's understand a bit of Instagram. Please bear with me. It was launched in October 2010 by Kevin Systrom and Mike. Kevin was born in 83, Mike was born in 86. They're very young. One was a software engineer, the other one was a programmer. They graduated from Stanford. It's the fastest growing social media app. So Instagram is a portmanteau of instant camera and Telegram put together, Instagram. The function was essentially to just share photos and videos on the social network. Initially, it was for Apple users. I know there's a sort of rivalry between iOS and Android. So later, they decided to design an Android app. So more than 1 million users in 2 months subscribed to Instagram after launching. And on April, so 2010, that is when it was in October, yeah? End of the year. 9th April, Facebook 2012, Facebook acquired it for $1 billion in stock and cash. So you can see how lucrative Instagram has been from the inception. It took them about 8 weeks to design the website. And in the first day, when they put the app on, 25,000 subscribers went on. 100,000 in a week, 1 million in 2 months. Now, my point, the reason why I'm insisting on letting you know about Instagram is because my next slide is going to be talking about college dropout billionaire. I'm not in any way encouraging young children to drop out of school, but it's always good to look at the whole board. So Mark Zuckerberg quit school in 2004 to start Facebook in Harvard. And then you can see the list goes on. So Bill Gates is the one who came up with this term, college dropout billionaire. All these brands that you use were designed by school dropouts. In fact, Jack Dorsey, the one who designed Twitter, quit just 1 semester before graduating to start Twitter. John Kuhn was, when he was hired by Yahoo, when he was still doing his undergrad, decided to quit shortly after to design WhatsApp. So you can see, when you're talking to teenagers, you are looking at, you're wasting time, you need to go to college, you need to get a job, you need to have children, settle down, make money, save for retirement. They are seeing this. And you have to be aware to be able to have that conversation. So how do they form self-perception? I'm really trying to go quickly, but okay. Would you? Huh? We're not complaining. Thank you very much for that vote of confidence. Okay. So self-perception in teenagers, you can see. Self-concept, what they think of themselves, affects their behaviors, and then their behaviors are dependent on other people's responses to those behaviors. So the circle goes on. So what people think of them is very important, especially their peers. And we all know that, not even with COVID, but before COVID, social media environments were very popular for teenagers. And perception improves when that interaction with others improves. So they're very dependent in the context in which they interact with others. If that goes well, then they think of themselves as well. Instagram, when you look at some studies, viewing of an image with more likes associated with appearance, comparison, and body dissatisfaction. Now, I just want to get a quick feel. When you look at a photo of somebody who you don't think is very pretty, or in that particular photo is not very pretty, but has a lot of likes, do you cringe a little? Do you cringe a little? Do you feel like he doesn't deserve it? Are you aware? But the other thing, the problem would be that you're not aware of these behaviors that you do because they're unconscious, and they do somehow, directly or indirectly, affect your mood and may contribute to anxiety and depression. So this is what we're looking at today. You can see boys and girls. Often is just before the block. Yeah? And you can see how much time teenagers spend on Instagram than on the other platforms. Snapchat is the competitor of Instagram. So photos are a form of self-representation and a very powerful social media currency. We take photos for our resumes, we take photos to share with our family, to share with our crushes, when you have one. Yeah. Photos are very important. Now, what happens when a photo is edited or photoshopped? So you can see the first graph, the first two pairs of bars, where there's lower social comparison. It didn't do anything, whether the photo was photoshopped or not. But when teenagers had higher social comparisons, you can see for manipulated photos, body image went down. So it affected how they view themselves. And here we're looking at celebrity photos where they're airbrushed and the skin is very smooth, the curves are just perfect. So that affected their body image. Study on 144 girls between the ages of 14 and 18. People who make frequent social comparisons may be more likely to experience specific destructive emotions, especially those that at least rely on social comparisons processes such as envy, guilt, regret, blame, lying. Yeah? So social comparison, generally, with Instagram and with other things, do you think social comparison is good or bad? How many say it's good? Social comparison.
Depends on how it's used.
Excellent. Yeah. So it can be good and it can be bad. So the tools that they used are these ones you can see. So body image scale, where they're looking at I'm satisfied with my body, I feel people ignore me. And then this is the social comparison scale. Now in response to that, Facebook released this slide to the public. And what they said is that body image only affects 1 in 3 girls. But those who are already susceptible to mental health challenges. That was their defense. And that is the slide to show. So eating behaviors, I'm trying to go quickly. So eating behaviors, studies have found that the breakfast frequency is reduced among teenagers as they get into adolescence. Fruit intake is reduced. That's why you see a lot of parents struggling to make their teenagers eat. Dinner with family also becomes a problem. Soft drink and junk food become the order of the day. Poor eating habits can lead to obesity, and I think this is important to stress on. When teenagers have eating problems during this phase, it can have lasting impact in their adult life. So it's very important how you sort out this issue, how you help them solve this problem. Social media, like I said, I'm going to be very ambiguous, good and bad. Social media can be used for education and promotion of healthy eating habits. So the same social media that is making a teenager anorexic is the same one that can actually fix it. So you have to find a way to leverage on that. Now, why would a teenager not listen to Dr. Omondi an expert of teenagers. You can see here, when a health professional is talking about real food, and when a celebrity is talking about real food, they are more likely to listen to the celebrity. They're more likely to trust, they're more likely to perceive credibility from the celebrity than from an expert. And now we come to FOMO. So teenagers want to be on the internet because of FOMO. One of the reasons is that they feel bad when they're on it. They are aware that it's making them feel bad. But at the same time, they don't want to stop going on it because they're afraid of missing out. So this is a real challenge, and there are many studies about it. So about 52.3% admitted that social media affected their study. Sorry, this was not FOMO, this was academic. I mean, the next one is FOMO, sorry. So please excuse me. So this was academic performance. 53 admitted that social media affected their study time, and this is important. 74 accessed on any moment they had spare time, and only 1% reported to use media, social media generally, for academic purposes. I've not found any study that says social media declines academic performance, although that is the thing we use to tell teenagers to study. It does affect their study time, but yes, if someone has got a study like that, I would love to see it. So procrastination was the mediating factor between academic performance and Instagram. Finding time to read, yeah? And now to the actual FOMO. So FOMO is an anxiety-producing emotion arising from the realization that you may be missing out on a rewarding experience that others are having. It's an intrapersonal trait that drives people to stay up to date with what other people are doing. That's why Dr. Njiga is saying, you go to Dr. Victoria, you go to Professor Atwoli, you don't want to miss out because you think they're doing something wonderful and you want to be part of it. FOMO, yes. Dr. Njiga, fear of missing out. So we should have asked you, not Dr. Njiga. So adults have it as well. FOMO was noted to be a positive predictor of how frequently teenagers use several social media platforms and of how many platforms they actively use. So because they don't want to miss out, they'll go on Snapchat to see what Juliana is doing and Dr. Rajab is doing, and then they go on Instagram to see Sidu and yeah, so they go on all of them to be up to date with what the other people are doing. For depressed girls, it seemed to trigger higher social network sites involvement. So those who are depressed seem to be trying to get validation from these social media websites. Okay. So this is now a discussion because teenagers come and they want to go out with their friends. They want to keep using the social media. So as a psychiatrist, as a psychologist, as a parent of a teenager, as a sibling to a teenager, as a relative, I want to ask, when a teenager wants to do something that you think is not important, is FOMO valid or a valid discussion to have with your teenager? Yes or no? Because usually, and please tell me if you're a teenager of my age, when you wanted to go out with your friends and your mom didn't want to, what was the response? What was the response? Anyone? It was a no, yeah? A no negotiation. So as we're looking at helping teenagers navigate through these current times, is FOMO a valid discussion to have? What they're saying is that teenagers require daydreaming time. They require you to reflect, to nurture their inner lives, so they can sensibly learn to manage their own time. So you sort of design a controlled environment where you keep your teenager bored. And what they're saying is that it's out of that boredom that you get creativity, innovation. Do we agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
I need a
So,
bit of that. I need a bit of that.
the boredom. We can see how to go about that. So they need this to be able to learn how to solve their own problems. So they need to face their anxieties by themselves so that they can build on their self-reliance and become responsible teenagers into adulthood. So to breed opportunities for discovery, give your child nothing to do. And here I'm talking to you as a relative to a teenager, an auntie, an uncle, a grandfather, a parent, and yes, you can do that. Now, the other recommendation is leveraging on Instagram. I put 3 accounts. This is my second last slide. 3 different accounts of our own people here. So number 1 is Elsie. How many know Elsie? And Aziad, and this other one, she's a model. They're all less than 22. Yeah? So leveraging technology is very important. You saw the other billionaires on that side. If the parent insisted that Jack, was it John Comey for Twitter, complete his last semester, he would not have created Twitter, a multi-billion app. So when you're having conversations, they're also looking at this. So let's look at Elsie, because she's a sensation. She started doing videos. Can I click here? Hi.
I just want to show you a flattened section.
Video. Hi. So this is Elsie. What she did was she ate chips in front of a camera. And then she just kept recording herself, talking about regular stuff, nothing important. And she got invited, she got a shout out from Lupita Nyong'o, and Steve Harvey adopted her. So yes, so when your teenager is telling you that social media can make them a billionaire, it's not an overvalued idea. It's not necessarily a delusion. There is actual potential in it from someone else's experience. So having that conversation is important. So I just want to show you a 13-second video of this girl. She is now worth $1 million shillings. She's on Vogue magazine, she goes on interviews. That's what she does. She's just eating chips and she's just talking about regular, mundane activities. In less than 2 years, she's worth $1 million. Give me the money. So my recommendations to use of social media, particularly Instagram, is that 1, so there she is with Steve Harvey and she's on the cover of Vogue magazine. Yeah? So 2 things I'd like you to take home today. 1 is the power of doing nothing, and this is for your teenager and also for yourself. And 2 is leverage on technology. Don't say no. And especially don't say no when you yourself are using Instagram for beneficial purposes. When your teenager is asking to use it for the exact same reason. And lastly, I'll leave you with this quote, and I'll recommend this book. It's about the power of vulnerability. I think sometimes we're very scared of having serious conversations with our teenagers because we don't know how to have them. So Brené Brown is a professor, she's a social worker, clinical social worker, and this is what she says. I spent a lot of years trying to outrun vulnerability by making things certain and definite. That's why I started with ambiguity. Ambiguity is good because it breeds, it expands our sense of understanding complexities, and by understanding complexity, we are able to build resilience. So by making things certain and definite, things will not always be certain and definite. Black and white, no. Good and bad. So you have to be able to understand the in-between. My ability to lean into the discomfort of vulnerability. Have that difficult conversation with your teenager. Listen to them from where they're coming from. Not that you agree with them, but for you to be able to gain entrance, to gain permission into the world they're living in. So that you can be able now to be heard by your teenager in that world. And I'll stop there. Thank you very much I'm so sorry for taking your lunchtime. Thank you and have a one. Any questions?
She has taken 14 minutes.
I'm so sorry.
And because of the people, the masses asked to listen.
I'm recommending this book. It's very good for learning vulnerability. She's done extensive research, which is really helpful, I think, for daily life.
As she was talking, I was wondering what is going on in Dr. Omonti's head. She's about to explode. But to be honest, you should do a study of Snapchat, no TikTok. TikTok is so addictive than Instagram is addictive because it's pictures, it's like a magazine. So short attention span, you're there and it's continuous. TikTok,
Yeah.
Instagram is even trying to steal TikTok's ideas through Reels. So I think that's a bigger problem.
TikTok is already trying to empower us. I think you've seen these things. If you're using TikTok daily, they have a mental health awareness or support program. So they've already started it. And the reason why Instagram is bad from the studies is that they've inferred with TikTok it's about skill, body movement. Instagram, it's about body, the photo that has been retouched, that has been edited. So that one has a more influence on a person's mental health than TikTok.
But in
It
terms
does.
of time wasting,
TikTok definitely, yes.
You can't stop. Anyway, I don't know. I was wondering, Dr. Muinga, you're very active on Facebook. Unaona tuliacha Facebook. I think he almost has a routine. Because I'll do a follow-up. I think let's go for lunch. For those who are psychiatrists, please get into the WhatsApp group. I'm still increasing the social media addiction. Anyway, I'm telling you to go into our WhatsApp group, try and answer that form. It will take you less than 5 minutes. It will inform what we'll talk about in the evening. I don't know whether we should give. Do you have burning questions for her, or are you hungry? Dr. Konji, on Instagram. On Instagram. It's good for advertising. By the way, let me tell you, it's the cheapest and most return.
For every 1 million, you get 5.
Return of investment is very high. It's higher than doing all these, what are they called, health talks. I think KPA, by the way, we should really invest in it.
We really should, yeah. Dr. Chitai.
Okay, any burning question? Lucia, we get to look like you are old school.
It's not actually a question, it's not to echo your presentation, because I have a 14 years old and 9 years old who are doing homeschooling, so they spend actually almost like 90% on social media. And so what I've seen is helping them to study and do that. My girl is right now trying to come up with websites where she can help other students of her age to revise. So because she has an ambition of going to Ivy League, so she tries so much as much as possible to keep her records on social media to be very clean, because it comes with other recommendations. So I think that we might be scared of it, but it depends on how we bring it in. I was in front of her because I know I think it's going to come where she's going to feel a little bit to eat or to have eating disorder. So we had to decide what sport do you like, so that to keep her fit. So she chose running. She's she's a runner, and so it is helping her to be fit. So I asked her, what do you want to do with social media? I mean, what impact do you want to bring? And she said, I want to teach people about health and being a dad and having crashes and these types of things. So I think that as parents, if we are scared of letting them go to Instagram or other things, they will still go under our backs. But it will have to be ahead of them to help them and to guide them that it is okay, but it has limitation and it also has other benefits.
Yes. Very good. I just want to add, we were prepared by our parents for a future they knew nothing of, absolutely nothing. And I think it's important for us to stop that and rethink, because we pretend most of the time as adults to know what the future looks like, to know how to prepare for the future, and we really don't. And our teenagers can teach us a lot about how to rethink.
Okay, I think let's stop.